Good afternoon and welcome to St Mary's League Stadium here in the beautiful west of Sydney. It's very good to have you along this afternoon for the Country Championships, and we've got two games for you coming up now. We've got the first ever Women's Rugby League Country Championship, which the Riverina Bulls are contesting against the Newcastle and Hunter side, and you can see the Riverina side making their way out onto the field now. And after that, we've got another beauty in the Under-23's Country Championship between the very two same sides. Morgan Campbell is my name. It's very good to have you along on Bar TV, and we'll be here for this game, kicking off, of course, in a couple of minutes, and then another kicking off at 2 o'clock in the Under-23s. There's plenty of football happening around the place, as you would imagine, and if you're on the Country Rugby League website, you can see all the games that are happening today, from the Andrew Johns Cup, Laurie Daly Cup, Under-23s, men's, and the women's competition. And we're seeing a bit of Country Rugby League history today with the first full tackle women's premiership. And this is 25 minutes either side. And we'll go through the two teams for you first of all. For the Riverina Bulls, number 1, Tess Staines. Number 2, Sophie Gaynor. 3, Catherine Pavir. 4, Lauren Dam. 5, Madeline Warburton. Number 22's into the side, Gabrielle Suckling. 7, Shannon Pike. 8, Loretta Leo Seve. 9, Yua Ravu. 10, Takalele Katoa. 11, Natasha Clemson. 12, Ivy Merlihan. 13, Emma Hickey on the bench. 14, Lucy Lugsden. 15, Elise Smith. 16, Nuamai Surika Bavada. 17, Amelia Lolotonga, and 18, Jessica McDonald. That's the Riverina side, as we see Newcastle forming up. Number 1, Talia Goldsmith. 2, Amy Waterhouse. 3, Rihanna Sipti. 4, Josie McBride. 5, Robin Draper. 6, Bobby Law. 7, Nicole Stanfield. 8, Ashley Grund. 9, Taylor Gray. 10, Ebony Ford. 11, Brittany Hunt. 12, Chantel Graham. And 13, Lacey Hickson. The ball is on the tee. It's the first Women's Premiership the day after International Women's Day, and we are away on Bar TV for 25 minutes either side, and it's the Riverina Bulls who'll get first use of it with their front rower, Ebony Ford, bringing the ball forward. The bench for Newcastle, incidentally, Tamsin Luschwitz, Cressa Harris is in 16, 18, Taneka Blackoff, 19, Crystal Saunders, and 21, Adonesia Afamasaga. It's Riverina making their way up the field here. With only 25 minutes either side, you've got to make things happen quickly in this competition, as here's Ashley Grand. And they're going to get an early look at the Newcastle end of the field here. And they'll work to the left. That's the halfback, Nicole Stanfield, finding the lock forward, Lacey Hickson. And they are into Newcastle territory now. And it's the 22, the 5'8", Gabrielle Suckling, who puts it into the sky, and Goldsmith takes it for Newcastle and Hunter. And it's a nice steady start to the game after a minute here. Play the ball's a little bit slow. And that was almost a fumble in the end. It's a good takeover there by Clemson. Did well to hang on to it. Now McDonald. Newcastle, of course, in the blue and red. Riverina in the old Country Rugby League colours of the maroon and gold. There's a half a break there, and away they go, Newcastle, with Law. And that was McBride taken over there. And they can work their way back into the middle. And that's a good run there by Draper. She's away, Robin Draper. She's nearly there. She's going to get dragged down a couple of metres out. But they've got numbers to the right here. They're screaming for the ball. Luschwitz at dummy half. This is Law. The kick is awkward. It's taken very, very well. Can she find a way to ground? We'll see in a minute. She's got herself down. I think she's held up. Amy Waterhouse over there. She did very well to reel that ball in, but couldn't quite find a way to the ground. And so Riverina escape. And they can bring the ball away. So 0-0 it remains. Ordinarily, I might take you through some form between the two teams over the last couple of years, or where they finished in last year's ladder or something like that, but I can't do that today because there's no history in this competition. We're seeing it, of course, for the very first time. Nicole, it's Shannon Pike, in fact, who's going to feed this scrum. And on come Riverina. Staines. And they're going to use the ball wide early on here, which you don't often see, bringing it away from the side zone line. And the short side's on. A little scamper. Very cool day here. You'll see on the coverage it's nice and overcast. As that's Merlihan. So it's not going to be too hot for these two sides. That's an awkward play the ball. I think there was a knock on there. Yeah. Yeah, just put a little bit too much steam on the play the ball there, did Ivy Merlihan. And this gives Newcastle an opportunity. Have another look at that Riverina line. So the scrum's formed. And Newcastle set very deep here. Amy Waterhouse all the way back in the Riverina half of the field. As this is Stanfield. Luschwitz is going to go for a run. She looked for a forward, thought better of it. She's still looking for someone to pass to. She's still looking, and finally she finds Chantel Graham. And she's not far away at all. Goldsmith's at dummy half. Finds Stanfield. Now Hickson. Luschwitz is going to go on a run. She's got a bit of an opening there, Luschwitz! And she gets the ball to ground. And Newcastle and Hunter have their first try in this new competition. And it's Tamsin Luschwitz who gets it next to the posts. And they're going to get the lead. It's 4 points to 0 after 5. And it just opened up there. A little bit of sleepy defending in the middle. And the good dummy halves know when to run. And Riverina trying to stick together beyond the goal line there. They're arm in arm. In a bit of a circle. Don't look to be too many recriminations. And now here's Waterhouse. To make the lead 6. It's there. I'm sure she'd like to have them all from that position.
Number 2, Amy Waterhouse. Taking their score on to 6.
So 6-0. Newcastle and Hunter leading the Riverina Bulls. And the huddle behind the goalposts was obviously so intense that Riverina taking some time to get back to halfway here. There was obviously much to talk about. So Gabrielle Suckling has got the ball on the tee. And we're underway again. She spears this towards the touchline. That's going to be an awkward one to retrieve. And Waterhouse has already shown some good hands today and a sure boot. Did it really well there. So there were no troubles. And now they're going to get a penalty. So it's just going Newcastle's way a little bit early here. Getting things their own way, or at least they were until that kick. Suddenly, Riverina can come away here with Pike. And she's going to barrel into them. And look at that intense tackle there from Hickson. Ended any chance of a recovery there. She put her on her back. Here's the front rower. This is Leo Seve. And then suddenly, having given away a penalty, they find themselves on the attack. Here's Katoa. And they're going to get a penalty here, Riverina, so that's a real turn of momentum in the game. And they'll tap and go quickly with Katoa. See what they can do. The dummy half is Ravu. Finds Leo Seve. And they're using the front rowers here. Ravu at dummy half again. He's going to look herself. It could be a dummy half shootout here. She gets dragged down. Clemson's at dummy half. Now Suckling. Still. They're not using the backs just yet. Maybe this time with Ravu. She's going to go again here. And she's going to be denied again. So they're going to have to go back and play this. But Riverina on last tackle haven't been too expansive. They've been all up the middle. And the backs, the outside backs, might be feeling a little bit unloved. perhaps now on last. It'll go to Suckling. And she doesn't use the boot, she uses the pass to Pike, who gets a really good cutout over there to Staines, and she's going to side through and score. Well, it looked like it was all breaking up there. Pike got the ball under a lot of pressure, and that was a really classy ball. The big over the Harbour Bridge to find Tess Staines with a bit of pace. And they're a chance of levelling the scores here, Riverina. Really, really good play. And good halves, you've got to know how to get yourself out of trouble. She was under pressure there. Did it very well. And now Suckling has the ball on the boot and on the tee. Try and square this up. We've seen some good football already after 9 minutes. Plenty of excitement. Both ends of the park. This is a difficult kick. And just the connection letting it down there. Gabrielle Suckling. So Newcastle and Hunter retain the lead. But there's really no guide as yet as to who you might like to win this game. Remember, that all came from a Newcastle and Hunter penalty that didn't find touch and gave Riverina that chance to attack. Waterhouse launches this, and it's fumbled over there by Ravu. Not to any great trouble, because Riverina can come back. And that was Merlihan. This front row is getting through a lot of work here. That's Katoa again, and that's a really good ball. And now Staines is up the field. Punching holes, these front rowers. Now there's a penalty. The play of the ball was too slow. And they might just tap and go straight back into them. They do indeed. And it's Tess Staines already with a try. Full of running. Off the back of that. Referee had to think about a penalty again there. Hickey finds Lee Alseve. The front rowers and the middle forwards doing a lot of the work here. Here's Pike. And the ball might have come out there. Yep. It did. And Newcastle just stemmed that little run of momentum that Riverina were developing there. But we're seeing plenty of half breaks, and plenty of half chances in the first dozen minutes here at St Mary's. It's a big day of rugby league here. We've already had the Andrew Johns Cup. We've already had the Laurie Daly Cup as this is turned over. It's come out. So Riverina, they can set up shop again here. We go again. Suckling with the ball. Now Dam. Dam's turned it over as well. It's just getting a little bit scrappy here at the end of the first quarter of the game. Let's see if Newcastle can hang on to it. On they come. There's Brittany Hunt. This might be Lushwitz on the run again. Finds a short ball there to Ford, who got rattled under the rib cage. But someone was tackled without the ball. So Newcastle can advance again. I think they might spurn the kick for touch this time. I dare say we'll see a tap and go, but there's a bit of trouble here for Lushwitz. There's going to be a replacement. There's enough people in the grandstand here to make a bit of a racket. We had quite a bit of racket a few minutes ago when Penrith were in action in the Laurie Daly Cup, and that very good win they had over Riverina in that competition. That game really swung back and forth, and Penrith in the end deserved winners, 30 points to 22, having made life hard for themselves in that second half. Now Luschwitz has come off. They're suggesting it might be a head injury, so he might have copped a bit of a knock there in being tackled without it. So having scored the first try of this match, she's now wandering off the field. We don't like to see that. Now, they build here. I want to keep an eye on Emma Hickey because she's coming in hard with those tackles. Now there's a penalty. It was forward. It was bowled over. They'll tap and go again and keep the game going. Here's the lock forward, Hickson. Making good ground in the end there. A bit of afters in the tackle. The referee's watching that closely. Now, the short ball's a good one, and through they go. Or almost through they go. It was Draper over there. And this is Draper, in fact. Oh, she threw the dummy and nearly wore one there. They'll look to the right. Hickson. Straight and hard and straight into Cleo Seve. Now they've come right. It's Law on the boot. It's gone past everybody and it's going to go into touch. For just a second, the bounce of the ball loomed threateningly there. But Riverina for the second time in that corner. Escape unharmed. And it's Riverina who can come back. This is a good contest, and it's disappearing before our very eyes. There's only 10 minutes left of the first half here as Ravu goes on a run. She's very eager for work, eager to help the momentum. Now Gaynor, and another penalty. I think he's got the markers there. Yep. Suckling roosts this into touch. Nearly collects one of the Riverina under 23's players. That would have been very unpopular. Now Gaynor tries to pinch a couple of metres, and she'll tap and go now. Riverina starting a set again inside the Newcastle and Hunter end of the park. And this is Clemson, met very strongly. She carried it with plenty of vigour. Another penalty. The crowd like that. There's enough noise being made here. Stanfield's getting a talking to here. Go back and tell your players that old routine, because they have had a few in a row. Staines roosts it into touch. It's a good meaty kick. So Clemson straight into them. Full set from inside the 20. Big chance to grab the lead here, the Bulls. Ravu. Katsoa. Looks a bit sore coming out of that Katsoa. There's another player lying in there for Newcastle. As Ravu now suckling. The inside ball's on here to Hickey. She's got a bit of a path to the line. And she's waltzed along that path and planted the ball down. And they have got the lead, Riverina. 8 points to 6. And that was nice football, the inside pass to someone running with a bit of sting. And the momentum is going back and forth in this game. As Suckling lines up the kick. It was a very good inside ball that found Hickey. And it's been the halves doing the business here for Riverina early on. Let's see what Suckling can do here. That looks all right, you know. The flags go up. It's better than all right. It's a corker. 10 points to 6. The Bulls have the lead. And after a bit of a rickety start, you'd have to say they deserve it.
Successful conversion.
So Newcastle, how can they respond to this? Facing some pressure here. Oh, the fumble and the juggle. Well, very well done by Sophie Gaynor. She looked to have dropped that about half a dozen times, reeled it in. As there are replacements on the field, that was Elise Smith who took that run. Now Gaynor on a charge. Runs into a couple of strong tackles. It's the price of wingers wanting to run the ball. They want to do the work and help out the forwards. They really got to done out their bodies to do it. Here's Ravu, another penalty for the markers. Getting caught. It was Draper in there, who's in the 5, but seems to be playing in the middle as a dummy half. And another good lusty kick for touch. Gives Riverina a chance here. They can kick away the Bulls. Another try here. See what they can do. Here's Dan charging into them. Ravu with dummy half. They've just got their wires crossed a little bit there, but Smith's there now. Good contact again. Now there's another big carry. That's Saruka Bavada in the shadow of the posts. Ravu. Lugsden's on the field as well. All the replacements getting a look at the ball here in this set. But they're still not going wide. The wingers have got hypothermia. This time perhaps. Inside ball. This is Staines. Weaving! And dragged down in a great tackle. I think it was Harris who made it. Now Ravu on last tackle. On last tackle. Turning it over. Their keeper get a bit too tight, Riverina. And the centres and wingers are entitled to say, what have we done to you? Because they're not getting much love at the moment. The ball really staying in that area around the goalpost. It'll be fairly chopped up by the end of this game if it stays like this. On come Newcastle. No, that's stiff contact again. They're hitting hard, both these teams. Now there's a penalty to Newcastle, and I dare say they needed that. Because they've really been parked. At their own half of the field. As Goldsmith whacks this into touch. They might just be happy to see this out to half-time now. We've had 21 minutes played in this Country Rugby League Women's Championships. And it's Riverina with the ascendancy so far. Goldsmith's at dummy half here looking for something for Newcastle. And that's grand. The ball's come out. The ball's come out. They haven't seen it through to half-time. The Bulls are going to get another look here with 3.5 minutes to play. They haven't quite managed to get the last tackle again. And maybe this time the Bulls can get their backs into the game. put something on to try and kick away with this lead. Pike. Suckling. Sideways, and then eventually over there to the 17. That's Lola Tonga on the field. Amelia Lola Tonga. And she'll be grassed eventually. Pavia with the run. Now the 14, that's Lugsden. It's making plenty of ground, Lugsden. They play the ball's a bit slow, but they're in striking range again here. This is Saruka Pavada. Chucks it out to Ravu. It's still there. And that's Lugsden again, who's been very willing since she came on a few minutes ago. They've still got tackles in hand here. They're deep to the left. They go that way with Pike. This is Dam. And the ball's gone forward. So Newcastle escape without any further damage. And maybe this time they can get the last tackle. Probably spear it into touch. And get themselves back into the sheds. Because this last 15 minutes have been fairly tricky. Riverina showing plenty of form. Now then, Bobby Law. Sideways and then straight. And making plenty of ground. Now Draper. He might have wanted it back out to the wing now. Is that Luschwitz back on the field in 14? I think it might be. Well, that's good news. Yes, it is Luschwitz. And she takes it out of dummy half. Now, 50 seconds. Law. Looking for touch. I think that's a clever play. It might be even more clever if the bounce goes the other way. Gaynor had a difficult task there. She had a difficult task and did it well and managed to just get the arm out and take that ugly bounce against her own momentum. And with 30 seconds left, now they get another penalty. There have been a few in this half. We've seen probably a dozen penalties given away. And the call from the crowd was free shot, girls, so we'll see. 15 seconds left. See if someone wants to make a go of this. They want to be a little bit brave. Ravu. Clemson. That might be it. The siren should go any second. It does go now. They're going to get an extra play here. And suddenly there's a chance over here for Gaynor. It's the last play of the half. Gaynor's under pressure. She's heading towards touch. And they could have put her in the car park in the end because they had all the momentum there, Newcastle. And that will see us out for the first half. It's been very enterprising and very entertaining to kick off this women's championship. It's the Riverina Bulls 10 leading Newcastle and Hunter 6 at half-time. Morgan Campbell on Bar TV, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes for the second half. Welcome back to St Mary's. A short and sharp half-time. And we're straight back into it. Riverina leading 10 points to 6 over Newcastle in this first women's championship match. There's plenty of matches happening around the state, as I said, and as well as this one. The North Coast are playing the Greater Northern Tigers up at Coffs Harbour. That one's going on at the moment as well. Also happening now, the West Tigers up against the Illawarra South Coast Dragons. That's in Camden. And Northern Rivers up against the Central Coast Roosters in Lismore. And tomorrow, in this competition, the Western Rams up against the Monaro Colts. So there's plenty of rugby league happening in the Women's Championship for the CRL. And we have 25 minutes left. The game really breezing by here as Goldsmith takes it forward. Luschwitz is a dummy half. And they're starting from a good position here as Ford comes forward. Now they're over on the left. Looks like Harris. Working the short side with Law. She's looked dangerous, Law. She's been keen to run the ball. Well, there's ball running 5/8. Now Draper's going to hoist this into the sky. It's not a bad looking kick, but it ends up finding stains on the chest. And look at this from Draper. Wooshka. Right under the rib cage. I was just talking to a couple of people at half time. Everybody remarking at how physical the game's been. Both sides very, very willing. They play the ball, looked a bit shonky. The referee's generous there as Smith goes forward. Nearly caught one around the chops. Now there's a penalty. So they can make another foray here. It'll be Clemson, who's been a very keen runner already in this game. Starting off again, here's Ravu. Finding Clemson again. Now Pike. They're probably responsible for the best moment of the first half, with a little jink and arcing ball over the top to find Staines for that first Riverina try. This is Hickey. Ravu finds Pike, finds Suckling. Suckling with a little bit of a dummy. The defence is okay here from Newcastle, but they're going to try and go straight up the middle again. This is Saruka Bavada. And this is last tackle. Suckling, plenty of options. Did she pick the right one? I don't think so, because Draper's got the ball and she's still going Robin Draper. That's a really good carry. Read it well, charged onto it, and then played the ball at a rate of knots. And they get a fall on it in the end, Newcastle. This is one of the things that never happens in the NRL because the players don't play the ball properly. But here in the Women's Championship, people trying to do this, play the ball in good faith. It's causing them a bit of angst. This is Grand, the ball's come out. Newcastle fall on it, but they won't get to keep it. It's another scrum. It's another Riverina opportunity. You might just be able to catch in the background of your shot the Riverina under-23 side warming up. I think that's in the men's championship, and that'll be happening at 2 o'clock. So not too long at all. We don't have to wait long. You'll be able to get both of those games. There's really no reason to be anywhere but in front of your phone or laptop or computer screen, or indeed smart TV this afternoon, watching some very high quality country rugby league. Ravu's got the ball, and that's Smith. Elise Smith. That's a probing run. They're queuing up on the left here. Here's another one. This is Lola Tonga. It's fiercely met. Fiercely met. Ravu on a little run. She's been looking for a try out of dummy half. She won't get it there. She's turned it over. She's been a willing runner. She's done a lot of looking in the middle of the ruck for an opportunity. Didn't quite pick the right one. Here's Luschwitz, who did pick the right one in the first half. Goldsmith at dummy half. Newcastle just spinning their wheels a bit here, struggling to get out. And we've got a stoppage. What's happened here? Well, I think the trainer's been marched. I think the referee's... No, what's happened? Well, that was a very unusual stoppage. Gabrielle Suckling took the opportunity to adjust the hair, which is a problem I have often, I must admit. And now here's Draper. Bumps off one, Draper. Not the biggest on the field, but one of the most willing. And very keen. And that's just given them a bit of momentum here, which Lutschwitz tries to make the most of. That ball looked forward, it was forward. It was forward. And Riverina, as they seem to be doing time and again at the moment, can start from a scrum. And we have 19 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here at St Mary's. Morgan Campbell with you on Bar TV. Of course, these sides drawn from all over the place, really. The Riverina side have travelled a long way to be here, some of these players. As the ball goes down, they're going to say play on here, and the crowd, or at least the Newcastle contingent, aren't overly pleased with that. But off they go again. Dummy half, she's had a few juggles today, Sophie Gaynor, and that was another one. She held it well, though. Or held it well enough. Here's Dam looking inside to Saruka Bavada. And that's come away. And they needed that, Newcastle. They needed it. Because they've been under pressure. This side, a great credit to the Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League, who've put together a women's competition, a full tackle women's league. And some of the clubs involved: Karua, Aberglasslyn, Awabakal, Maitland United, Fingal Bay, Waratah. So it's a great credit to all of them that put that competition together. Where for Riverina, we've got players from Temora, Wagga, Albury, Leeton, Griffith, Junee, Hay, all over the place. And they've all travelled a good distance to be here in St Mary's. That's up past 1 in the afternoon on a Saturday. Playing rugby league at a very good level. As Lushwitz finds a forward. It's Cressa Harris. Now there's a run for Stanfield, who hasn't been as involved so far, but I guess that's probably because Newcastle haven't had as many opportunities in the second half to use the ball. Now Draper holding it up, and making her way into the Riverina half. She's a real goer, Robin Draper. Swung out the back to Law. Law with an opportunity to run. And the ball's come away there. Riverina will get it back. The referee plays advantage. And Riverina can start again. You think almost with 17 minutes to go here, if they could get another one, it might be enough for them. In a relatively low-scoring game. Here's Lola Tonga. Ravu. There's a bit of a moon ball out there to Pike. Inside ball's a good one to Clemson. The tackle's even better. That pass might have gone forward. The linesman's all over it. Yeah, the referee had an inkling. The linesman confirmed that it is forward. The referee here is Matt Reeves, incidentally. Thomas Williamson and Nicholas Freund, the two linesmen. And wherever you're watching on Bar TV, I hope you're enjoying it. It's been a good contest so far. And it's very good to bring it to you. And if you are watching, if you're on the Facebook page or you're watching on Twitter or wherever it might be, let us know. Post a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. We had up in Maitland last weekend watching in the Laurie Daly Cup, the Andrew Johns Cup. We had someone let us know they were watching all the way from Wellington in New Zealand. As off they go here, Newcastle, needing something to get themselves back into this game. And this might be the little momentum they need, but the ball might have been bobbled in there. As soon as they had the momentum, it was gone again. They'll have to come back in and pack another scrum. It seems like they've done a fair bit of that. in this second half has been a lot of scrums. I mean, some people like scrums, you know, some people are really into them. So if you're one of them, you're having a good time. You can always tell when people's friends and family are watching on the live stream. There's a lot of talk of, you know, someone's saying get Merlihan back on. Possibly a friend or family of Ivy Merlihan, the 12th for the Riverina, or possibly just an impartial observer who liked what they saw in the first few minutes. And that is Merlihan. No, that's Suckling instead with the ball. Going sideways, but looking for a forwards option. Finds Lola Tonga. Now Pavir. Chance to really put it on them here. This is Merlihan, whoever that was who was commenting on Facebook. I hope you're happy. She's back on. And that's a good run. Now Katoa. Still Katoa. Strolling forward. Went a long way unimpeded. Now Ravu. Pavir. There's no way through there. They've had to do a lot of tackling, Newcastle. They've done it well since half-time. Ravu finds Suckling, who might try and find the boot here. There's plenty of willing chasers. One of them Staines. It's batted down. Here's Law. Still Law. And she's dragged down a couple of yards out. Damn, in fact it was. I'm getting my three little last names confused here. But Newcastle. Oof. Aframasaga turned it over. Riverina can come at them again. Here's Ravu. They're going to go straight at them. Lola Tonga. Still Lola Tonga. She might go into touch. Oh, it's a good tackle over there. That's a really good bit of defending. And Aframasaga's error won't be punished. It was Bobby Law over there and Robin Draper who swung Lola Tonga into touch. But Newcastle is staying close enough, if good enough here. As long as you're only one try behind, you're a chance. It only takes a second to score a try. There's a tough shot on Josie McBride. Now Afamasaga again. And can I say it's very good to have an Afamasaga involved with rugby league again. Never forget Jack Afamasaga, formerly of Parramatta in the NRL, as that comes out. And so Riverina, guess what? Have another scrum. And they can set up again. I wonder how much work they did on scrum plays at training through the week, because they're getting plenty of opportunities. It seems to be their main attacking outlet at the moment. I tell you what, there's a lot of Ivy Merlihan love on the Facebook comments. It's obviously got a big fan base out there watching in the Riverina. A lot of people in Junee enjoying the coverage, I would hope. As this is Liao Seve. Now Staines. It looks like Warburton, who hasn't had many chances, as Riverina have kept it pretty tight up the middle. Now Liao Seve again. Back on the field and doing damage and taking a lot of stopping. They're flat both sides of the ruck here. They'll go to Katoa, who'll be tough to stop from there. Yeah, that was always on. Takalele Katoa under the posts. The lead's out to 8. It might be 10. And the Bulls are rampaging here. 14 points to 6. With a kick to come from in front. And that was a simple play. She's threatened to do that a couple of times. Katoa. She's been charging at them. And they've just had too many chances not to score. They've been bashing and bashing away. Newcastle kept inviting them to attack. The whole game's been, I'm starting to get neck cramps from looking entirely to my right here, because the whole game, it seems, in the second half has been played up this end of the field. And eventually, Riverina had too much quality. And Newcastle now need to dust themselves off and have a crack at this in the last 10 minutes. As Suckling with the chance to kick them 10 clear. It's there. And it's 16-6. Oh, that's an ugly looking kick. Well, here's your chance, Newcastle. Here is your chance. It was a dipping, awkward looking kick. And Lolatonga had a bit to do there. Went through the hands and into touch. So here you go. Newcastle and Hunter. 25 out in front, full set of 6. What do you got? Oh, they've got a knock on. They've got a knock on with Stanfield. The pass was just a bit out in front. Riverina survive. The crowd yell out, someone in the crowd yelled out, stay positive. Well, that's what they need to do. Got a stoppage. It's going to be a Stain Ebony forward coming on for her other starting front row partner, Ashley Grand, or Grand. And that's the 8th change made by the Newcastle side. We've 9 minutes to go here. I wonder if Riverina might just be fancy something here, though. Them all set out on the left. There wasn't too much set play about that. This is Liao Sevo. And a very damaging runner. Both front rowers have done damage, although she nearly suffered some damage there. She got rolled back. Now Merlihan. And they're heading for the familiar pastures of the Newcastle half of the field here with Katoa, the try scorer. Still got a couple of tackles. Suckling is going to kick early. It's not the worst idea. Goldsmith's under it. It's an awkward one. And they're going to call knock on here, which is going to cause her some grief. I don't think she thought she knocked that on. She was facing her own goal line. So Talia Goldsmith none too pleased about that decision. Had a bit of a word to the touchy, I suspect. But this sets Riverina up here with 7.5 minutes to go. They're compressed. They're right in the middle of the park. You can see Newcastle's defence is very compressed as well. As Pike goes across, it's turned over. So if Goldsmith really didn't knock it on, that might be a bit of justice. Now it's come out as well. And they're going to get a penalty, Newcastle. So that little transaction hasn't turned out too bad for them. But they won't kick for touch. They'll just tap and go. It was a kick for touch that started Riverina's momentum in this game. That's Lacey Hickson. Now Draper. Big dummy from Draper. Lushwitz has got Afamasaga and sends her at them. And this is a good run from Afamasaga, and the crowd like that. And what's not to like? She dragged a couple with her. Luschwitz takes out the marker. Saunders puts it to the sky. And Staines is very confident of that high ball. She did well. And now she can come back at them with a broken line. Here's Staines. Oh! Thumped up the top by Draper. And they might have words. Now Gaynor. Newcastle need to lift here. They're 10 behind with 6 to go. Pike. Hickey, who's been running wider in the second half. There's an injury in back play for Newcastle. I'll try and get a sense who it is. As Ravu. This is Lola Tonga. Ravu finds Suckling. He finds Dam. And this is last. Suckling. Kicking back across the ruck. It's an awkward looking kick, but it's taken over there. And now they're going to counter-attack through Draper, who goes past a couple. That was good play. Chantel Graham with a bit of enterprise there. They need that. They got 5 minutes to get 2 tries. They're going to stop the game here because the Newcastle trainers are taking their time with an injury here in back play. And if someone was to break up field, it could get a little bit ugly up there. So I think this is good refereeing to just stop the play and let them sort this out. So just trying to work out who it is. It's just been down for a couple of minutes, and the trainers are going through the usual precautions. After this on Bar TV, we've got Riverina and Newcastle and Hunter in the Country Rugby League Under-23's Championships, which is the most senior men's competition in the CRL this season, in this representative competition. So there's no reason to go anywhere. That game will be kicking off in about 10 minutes' time. But we're just waiting to see what happens here, and waiting for the Newcastle and Hunter trainers to help this player off the field. She's sitting up, which is encouraging. And with any luck, she'll be able to walk off the field on her own steam as the 16 Cressa Harris is down on the touchline. She's going to come on. Both these sides, of course, in action again next week in the Women's Championship. They're just looking at the draw here. Newcastle and Hunter are at home next week, so that'll be nice. They're playing up in Maitland, at that very lovely Maitland Sports Ground that we were at last week for the Daily and the Johns Cup. They're in action against the North Coast Bulldogs. 12:50 kick-off in the women's, 2 o'clock kick-off in the 23's. So 12:50 up there at Maitland Sports Ground for the Newcastle and Hunter women's side. And for Riverina, well, they've got another travel. They've got to go to Fig Tree on the South Coast next week to play against the Illawarra South Coast Dragons, and the women's match there starts at 12:50 in the afternoon as well. So 2 rounds in this Women's Championship. 2 rounds, and then some calculations about points difference and matches won and all that sort of thing to determine who goes through to the semi-finals. And there's a semi-finals at the end of the month, and then the finals of all these competitions happening on the 6th of April. So that's what it's all building towards. Now, Newcastle player is up. She looks pretty sore, it must be said. And I think she's going to make her way off very gingerly here. They seem to be supporting her arm. But she'll get a generous round of applause. You don't want to see these sort of things. Incidentally, I think that's Robin Draper's had to be carried off as well. So there's a bit of attrition out there for Newcastle at the moment. So there's 2 players needing to be replaced, and Newcastle have used their 10th change. So Harris does come on now. Newcastle do have their opportunity with the ball. And they can use it now, but they won't get far with tackles like that from the Riverina side. Dear, oh dear. Very heavy hit. Now here's Law. Maybe they can do something with a snipe down the wing. There was a nice little in and away there from Sipti, who we haven't seen much of today. She keeps it going to Law. It's still on here for Newcastle. That was good football. Last tackle. Luschwitz. The ball might have drifted forward. That's going to be it. It's last tackle. So they couldn't quite keep it moving. And with 4 minutes left, they're going to need big tackles here to turn this over. Luschwitz volunteers herself for a crack at Liao Seve. Now Ravu. Oh! Florin Tam cracked in a big tackle. Stanfield was involved. Now they're rolling forward with Katoa. And another big shot. It's still physical in the last few minutes. That's Saruka Bavada. Staines. Damn. I reckon they fancy themselves for another one here. That's Katoa again. She's already got one. Now Ravu. Last tackle here, and Suckley's going to go on a run. And she finds Staines. And Staines thought she'd found the line. She must have thought she was on for number 2 there. But Newcastle, as they've done to their credit, got numbers there, foiled the opportunity. And there are 3 minutes left. So if it's going to happen for them, it's going to happen pretty quick smart. Time is ticking away. As the Riverina 23's just making their way up the tunnel back after their warm-up. Looking wound up for the game that kicks off at 2 o'clock here on Bar TV. It's a big day of country rugby league. There's a lot of footballs being passed and kicked all over the state. And here's Riverina with it back through Hickey. And this is a real chance here for Hickey. She can set sail for the line. Gets herself over. And gets the Bulls home. It was a turnover and a loose ball. And Emma Hickey had the presence of mind to snaffle it up. And scurry away. And Riverina will get the points today. And they'll improve the important for and against. And they lead at 20 points to 6. For and against, it's a big deal in this one with the format of this competition. So even though you might have the points locked up, nabbing an extra try at the end is very valuable. And that's exactly what they've done. Suckling with an opportunity here to kick it out to a 16-point lead. There's only 75 seconds left here. I wonder if it'll get on. I wonder if we'll get back on. She's not mucking about over the kick. She's hit it really well. She's kicked well today, Gabrielle Suckling. She's taken 3 from 4. And it's been a very impressive showing from this whole Riverina side. They let in the first try and then they've put 22 blot on them. It's been a very strong performance. And Newcastle find themselves kicking off. They've had a very hard second half. They've done a lot of tackling and packed a lot of scrums and haven't had many opportunities with the ball. So there's plenty for them to work on. Russell Grigg, their coach, will be able to... one of the good things about this Bar TV broadcast, you can review the footage through the week. They might have a video session through the week. Look at all the things that can be improved on as here comes Saruka Bavada and a willing runner. Liao Seve. It's been built off the back of these forwards, Liao Seve and Katoa in particular. And now Suckling will put the kick in. There's one last chance here for Staines. Goldsmith's got it under control. Goldsmith's going to go on a run and see what she can do. She's going to get twisted and thrown to ground, and that'll be it. And it punctuates a very good win by Riverina. They've been clever with the ball. They've been brave in the tackles, and they've run very, very hard. And Newcastle toiled away. They did their best, but in the end, they just made life a bit too hard for themselves, knocking the ball on and that sort of thing. And Riverina deservedly get the points here with a nice little for and against buffer, which might count for them in a couple of weeks' time. It's their points today, 22 points to 6. Riverina defeat Newcastle and Hunter. We'll be back in a few minutes on Bar TV with the second game of this doubleheader between these two sides, the U23's Country Championships. That's not too far away. Kick off at 2 o'clock. Welcome back. Welcome back to St Mary's. It's the Under-23's Country Championships kicking off here. We've got Riverina making their way out. They're out on the field now. Newcastle and Hunter aren't too far away, and the clap starts up. Here they come. Led out by the 9, Jack Beagley. And generously applauded by both sides from the women's match a few minutes ago. Not too much partisanship out here. I'll take you through the two sides. Riverina number 1, James Girdler. 2, Rusiade Kalasawaka. 3, Joshua Fisher. 4, Mitch Bennett. 5, Riley Flint. 6, Curtis Fisher. 7, Jesse Corcoran. 8, Zachary Masters. 9, Joe Lum. 10, Luke Ingram. 11, Hayden Philp. 12, Liam Wiscombe. 13, Nicholas Hay. 14, Liam Heaton. 15, James Hay. 17, Hayden Cowlard. And 20, Casey Wall. For Newcastle, number 1, Zach Brown. 2, Eppley Vure. 3, Tyrone Henderson. 4, Hayden Yates. 5, Aidan Bills. 6, Caleb Murray Munro McGrady. 7, Broston Smith. 8, Zan Snowden. 9, Jack Beagley. 10, Dan Melmoth. 11, Hayden Thompson. 12, Joel Williams. 13, Matt Heaton. We're underway in the Under-23's Country Championship, and that kickoff is speared downfield and turned over straight away. Well, that was clattered off the boot. And it's no great surprise that Newcastle have turned it over. It was Fred Kearse in the 14 who got the fumbles there, but I'm excusing that one. That was absolutely belted. That bench, incidentally, for Newcastle, or the extended bench: 14, Fred Kearse; 15, Joel Newman; 16, Jason Smith; 17, Brody Hetherington; 18, Fred Campbell. And they're straight on the attack here, Riverina. Playing in the maroon and gold. Newcastle, as per usual, in red and blue, and the referee pulls the penalty there. And they're straight back into them with plenty of vigour. That's a good carry. Riverina working out a dummy half with Lum. They're flat to the left, deep to the right. Here's Fisher. And Girdler's got the fumble, and straight away Newcastle are off here. And having knocked off the kickoff, they're going to almost go the distance. It's Yates running away. He finds the winger. Here's Fred Campbell back inside. He's taken down. But it's still on for them here with Thompson. From defence to attack. In a trice, Beagley. Straight and hard. The big front rower. The lock, in fact, it was Heaton. Now Kearse. Smith. Still Smith. He's turned it over. He got rocked there. He got hit hard. And so Riverina can come away. Our referee today, incidentally, is Cara Lee Nolan. Such judges Bryce Hotham and Pat Allen. And it's the Riverina Bulls getting the first penalty from Cara Lee Nolan. Well, the second penalty, they had one a moment ago, but the first one relieving pressure. 40-minute halves here. Full 40 minutes either way. The first round of the Country Championships, the Under-23's. This is the top level of Country Championship football for the men. We've seen the 16s, we've seen the 18s, we've seen the women. And now we're seeing Zachary Masters coming into the Newcastle half. They're a big side, this Riverina team, as Corcoran juggles and gets it back. And it's noticeably fast football being played so far. Ingram. Lum over there to Fisher. He had options, picked Philp in the end. That work to the left now with Corcoran. This is a contest. It's a contest. And in the end, I think they'll go out to the 20. And in the end, I'm not a referee because that's going to be a line dropout. They both went up for it. There were a lot of hands, and those sort of things are pretty difficult to adjudicate on for referees. And so Newcastle and Hunter under pressure again here. Fisher took it well and found Masters. And Masters charging at them and threatening to crack them apart. Hay, straight and hard. This is a really big chance for the Bulls. Corcoran, oof, whisk him. Ran into trouble. Back to the open. That's Ingram. Lum has Fisher. Fisher has a look. It's turned over again here. There's bodies flying everywhere. And they're going to say last tackle. No Newcastle hand on it, no knock on. The grubber is awkward. They're coming. And it's going to be knocked dead. And I think we're going out to the goal line again. So Newcastle have had only one set in the game, and it was right on the Riverina line. And everything else has been basically defending their own line. So they're having to soak some up. Bit of a corkscrew kick there. It's awkward. And it's knocked on. So sometimes the missed kick is not a bad option. And it turned out very well for them there. Luke Ingram just a bit bewildered by the way that was screwing across the ground. And after 5 minutes, Newcastle and Hunter can get a proper use of the ball. Try and settle a little bit here. And they're running hard. There's plenty of sting in this game early. They're both hitting each other hard. There's Fred Campbell in the 18 who bobbed up on the wing a few moments ago, looking like he might get a try. Now Heaton. That's Melmoth. Beagley's got options both ways. He went to Kearse, he went to Smith. And they're using the full width of the field here, Newcastle. And Boston Smith will send this to the sky and put Girdler under some pressure. Girdler did well. He did really well and got away from one. But I think Newcastle and Hunter would be keen to just get into a wrestle here for a few minutes, having had so much pressure against them early. That's Kalesia Waka. That might be Flint in the 5. So we've had the fullback and the two wingers do the running so far. Now we're going to get the dummy half. That's Lum. He thought he had the markers offside. The referee didn't agree. Corcoran kicking from dummy half and getting plenty on it. That's a really good kick in the end. Brown having to retrieve it from the goal line. Throws a fairly unfriendly pass. The call goes out from the touchline outside backs, and that's what they get, Aiden Bills. Looks like it might be Heaton. I said Riverina are a big side, but Newcastle and Hunter have got some size too. That's Snowden. In the headgear. And Beagley will kick from dummy half, and he might fancy himself at the line there, but the ball went straight through Girdler's legs. He was bowled middle stump there. And he comes back to not a bad looking line. A couple of them went straight over the top of him, but they got him now. You could see what Beagley was trying to do there, but the angle of the kick wasn't quite right to find the line. But it's not a bad result. And they've got Riverina penned in a bit here. That's Flint. The last of 4 games at St Mary's League's Stadium. Now Philp. And a very big day of rugby league here. And the field, it must be said, has held up really well. The actual surface. Now there's a run. Now there's a slice through from Corcoran. He's all on his own, Corcoran. He can't find. Now he can find support. And it's turned over. Wiscombe. They weren't quite up with him. And when he finally did find someone, they were under pressure. And Newcastle escape again. Somehow, after all these half breaks and chances inside the 20, it's still 0-0 after 10 minutes on Bar TV. Morgan Campbell with you for this opening round of the Under-23 Country Championships. Games going on all over the state. And the ball's come out again. Newcastle and Hunter just having some of the issues that plagued their women's side earlier on. It's giving the ball away in good positions here. And giving Riverina too many chances to attack them. So Fisher at first receiver and Riverina with a chance to break through. There's a bit of spear about that. The referee won't like that. Those sort of things are very ugly. Any hint of that, and sure enough, there'll be a penalty. So Lum taps and finds Philp. And that line you'll see there, that's the 10 metres with the goalposts in the background. Lum. Masters, still Masters. Now Bennett. Now it's Campbell. Oh. He had a juggle at that. That could have been a try at either end. We are seeing some moments here early on. Newcastle's best attacking threat at the moment seems to be off intercepts. They've nearly got them twice. Now Corcoran, he's already carved his way through once. They've got a front rower there, that's Ingram, who's just going to have a go himself here. Ingram, I think he's got it himself to ground. He has. Well, it was a simple run off the ruck, and Luke Ingram's just barreled his way over. And after all the pressure and all the chances, it's a simple one in the end. And Riverina lead at 4-0. And it all just came from running hard and just thrashing someone away. And Jesse Corcoran can stick this on the tee, stick it through the posts and give them a 4-0 lead, a 6-0 lead. There might be a few harsh words beyond the post there for the Newcastle players, because as much as they've done a lot of defending, as the kick goes over, it's... You don't really expect front rowers to just take a normal hit up from 10 metres out and find their way over the line. So Newcastle might need to lift a little bit in the middle. Here we go again. It's Beagley who seems to be doing a lot of the kicking in this game, kicking off the tee this time. And it's Masters, the front rower, who's going to go on a run. And he's looking for opportunities here, Masters. And still they go on. This is the try scorer, Ingram. And what a ruck that was. They've taken 35 metres off the kickoff with 2 phases of play. Now Wiscombe. And that's the lock forward, Hay. They need to get these raging bulls under control. Here's Ingram again. It's still only fourth tackle. But they'll kick anyway. Fisher. It's not a bad one either, I can tell you. Zach Brown's got a job to do here, and he's, in the end, it's come spearing off his foot and over the dead ball line. Well, they're going to have to kick it out from under their own posts again. You're tuning into this one, let us know where you are. I shouldn't really say tuning in, I mean nobody tunes in anymore to a live stream. But if you are watching, if you're streaming somewhere, let us know where. As Masters comes back again, and it's been all about these front rowers so far. And these middle forwards has been Masters and Ingram and Hay doing the damage. Now here's Lum. He'd be enjoying himself. He's got plenty to work with behind these big carries. Fisher. Philp. Still Philp. He got past one, got past two. He's still going Philp. He might just reach out here. That was nearly on. Lum. Flat to Corcoran. It's gone behind. It's going to be picked up by Newcastle. There might be a chance here for Smith. He throws a very ambitious pass. And Newcastle are going to get up to the 30. That was very casual by Boston Smith. Just really rolling the ball out the back. And so Newcastle again get away. The backline moves haven't quite come together for Riverina so far. There's been a couple of times we've seen that, the ball coming out. We've seen one full-blown loose ball breakaway. We've seen another half intercept. And then we've seen that one. Now, Girdler picked that up well. Hasn't got much of a line to look back at here, and Kalasawaka can have a go here. Newcastle not getting up quite in the line. Now Bennett. And there'll be a stoppage here. We're going to go back a yard. It's not really worth going off the mark anymore because referees tend to pull it back. And you lose all the momentum. Here's Hay. Lum looking for Philp. They look intense, this Riverina side. They're running very hard. This is Girdler. And they're looking to move the ball. Lum. Corcoran. Still Corcoran. This is last. It might be on Curtis Fisher to provide a kick here. It is. And he'll create a contest, although it's more sideways than forwards, but this is awkward. And it's Campbell in the end who takes it. And that really fizzled out in the end, but again, Newcastle just under too much pressure here. And we're not quite a quarter of the game down. This is Heaton. And Heaton thought about a pass. They wrapped him up. But Newcastle need to see the Riverina half of the field, and that's where the ball's going to go, albeit off the boot of Boston Smith. And Flint can bring it back. They seem to just be labouring a little bit at the pace of this game, Newcastle. They're not quite getting up in a line in return of kicks. As Kalasawaka. On a little run. Now Ingram, the try scorer. It's been a good first stint from him. You'd imagine he'll be coming off shortly. Now Girdler. They've still got tackles in hand, and yet again, they're in their favourite part of the field. That is the Newcastle half. Ingram again. How many runs has he had in this first half? in just 18.5 minutes. Now there's a stoppage as I think it's Melmoth who's come a cropper there. So Melmoth is going to come off. The 17, that's Brodie Hetherington, is going to come on. And Riverina just lost their momentum a little bit here with that stoppage. It's Fisher who sends it to the sky. Campbell, very casual underneath it, did well. And sends Zach Brown at them, but that's a good line from Riverina. Look at that. Good line, good contact, and a bit of drive. And Newcastle, as they have been for a long part of this game, find themselves 90 metres away. As Munro McGrady, he's met strongly. Henderson. Woof. Well, I don't know how you describe that tackle. I'd hate to be on radio trying to explain what happened there. He really got flung. But that was exactly what Newcastle and Hunter needed to get themselves out of trouble. Maybe just have a little look at the Riverina half. They're just about there. And about a yard inside it. Smith, Kearse, and now Campbell coming in field, getting driven back. You go into the Newcastle half of the field. And then he looked to have dropped the ball, but he's going to have to go back and play it. There's a rogue siren. I don't know what that's all about.
False alarm, folks. False alarm.
False alarm. Well, there you go. We've got a phantom siren at St Mary's as the ball comes away. Riverina are going to get another scrum here. I don't know what happened there. A bit of sabotage. Trying to cause confusion for players and commentators alike. You haven't heard the phantom siren for a while. I always wondered what had happened to him. So it's Riley Flint who starts us off again. Riverina just seem to be playing exclusively from the 40 onwards. They're spending so much time in this part of the field and further advanced. Here's Ingram again, still on the field. A big 20-minute stint for him. Lots of carries and a try. Now Lum. Lum found Hay, who found a bus. He got belted. Now, Girdler. Bobbing and weaving and looking for space. And looking for a pass, finding Ingram. He goes for about his 642nd carry of the first 20 minutes. This is last. Fisher. It was charged down. If they fall on that, they'll keep it, Newcastle. They did really well there. It was Hayden Thompson who got in the way of it and then got onto it. And now they can come away with some mo. Here's Yates. That's a good run. Referee says up you get. We've got a mystery man out there in 25. I'll try and work out who he is. They'll work to the right. Kearse. Now Smith. This one's easy enough for Girdler. It bounced very kindly. And he's met strongly. Now Kala Sawonga. And we're just into a bit of a wrestle here. Newcastle looking to just compete well enough for a few minutes, even if they're not scoring. They just need to stop the Riverina flow of possession and territory. They can't defend the whole game. This is an opportunity for them as a knock-on from James Hay will give them the set inside the Riverina half. This is the sort of thing they're looking for. What have they got? What have they got in attack? We've only seen them really have one solid look at the Riverina line. So we haven't really got a sense of what they've got with the ball. We'll get a sense now. Here's Fred Campbell, who looks eager to get himself involved at pretty well every opportunity. Here's Smith. And still Beagley's going to work a short side here. He saw something. He found Campbell. Now Kearse, who started the game by dropping the kickoff. It's safe to say it's got better since then. And he's hovering around behind the ruck again, and he's going to get it too. And he's going to find Smith. This is last though. He looks a bit sore, Jason Smith. Short side's on here for Beagley. He's got Campbell with him. That was a microscopic kick. And he just dropped it onto the boot and let it roll off. And it was well claimed over there by Girdler, who, as all good fullbacks do, turn up in the right place at the right time. There's a hint of beyond the horizontal about that tackle. They say play on. And now Williams is up strongly, making a good tackle. That was James Hay, who's onto the field in 15. Riverina have just used their third change, and that might be why Hayden Cowlard's got the ball now in 17. And this is last. And it's just evened up slightly in the last few minutes. Oh, hang on. Just as I say that, Zach Brown, the coach, will be causing him great angst. Poor old Dean Bosnich. But it's just a little bit of a wrestle. This is what they were looking for, Newcastle. The 6 is about to come onto the field for them. Caleb Munro McGrady is about to get out there. He's got the number 4 interchange card in his hand. We've got a 19's just appeared on the touchline. We've got no idea who he is. There are a lot of mystery numbers happening out there in Newcastle. I don't know if this is a trend we want in Country Rugby League. Makes life very hard for commentators. Now here's a good run. And they're into Riverina's half again. Beagley will go over there to Smith. That's bounced off Kalasee Walker, and now he's going to get a penalty for his trouble. They were in front of the kicker. And just hearing about the change of Fred Kearse into lock, which is probably a result of Munro McGrady coming on. So he'll go to 5/8, Kearse into the middle. And the ball launched into touch there, went straight over the hill and into the change rooms. And now there's a knock on, so it's just evening up a little bit here. That one-way traffic, all aimed at the Newcastle and Hunter try line, has been stopped. There's a little bit more congestion now, which is something people in the crowd here in Western Sydney will know all about. So again, we'll see what they can do in attack. Crowd up here in the grandstand thinned out a little bit since the Johns and Daly Cup, and there are a lot of people here making racket. That might have been touched. Referee says play on. Campbell's going to try his luck on the touchline here with pace, and he's going to find himself over the touchline. He'll find himself over the touchline. Now, I've got a very helpful... Oh, there you go. So, 11 is 19, and 25. Which one's 25?
25
is 15. Oh, right. Very good. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Running repairs on Bar TV. We've just had the... just had the Newcastle and Hunter, I suppose, manager come up and let me know of those number changes, because that was going to be very hard work to have two people out there whose names we didn't know. So 19 is Hayden Thompson, who was named as 11, and 25 is Joel Newman, the mystery man, the big fella out there, who was originally named in 15. Very, very helpful contribution from the NHRL there. You got to think of the commentators at moments such as this. Now, Ingram's still out there after 29 minutes with his very high work rate, and his runs haven't really lost any vim and vigour. Now it's turned over. This is a chance for Newcastle, and it's the new man on the field, Munro McGrady. What's his pace like? He's turned it inside so casually to Campbell. He's still going, Fred Campbell. He's still going. And will he get over in the corner? Of course he will. Oh, that's a bit of football. That's a bit of football. It was like playing in the park. Munro McGrady made the break. He knew he didn't have the pace, so he just turned and dropped it out the back like he was passing the remote in the lounge room. And Fred Campbell did the rest. He had a lot to do, zigging and zagging. I said it was evening up. But again, it was the loose ball and the counter-attack that did the damage for Newcastle. And with 10 minutes left of this first half, there are a chance of squaring it. Really good stuff. I said the crowd thinned out a little bit, but they were making racket there. It's Jack Beagley, captain of the side, dummy half, kicker in general play, goal kicker, probably drove the bus to the ground. See what he's got from about a fingernail in from touch. It's from the West Wallsend club, Jack Beagley. They're well represented in this side, West Wallsend. They've got Dan Melmoth's from that club as well. Now, let's see if he can get those flags in the air and level this game up. That doesn't look too bad, you know. Oh, that looks beautiful. That's a work of art. From Jack Beagley. 6 points all, 9 minutes left in the first half. We've got a good game here, people. Stick with us. We've got a good one. Newcastle and Hunter have been under pressure, and they've dug in, and taken a chance when they got it. And Riverina find themselves kicking off. Look at the mark by Campbell over there. He's playing at his own pace, it's fair to say. That's 17, Brodie Hetherington on the field. That's held there by Melmoth, and he's away. The big fella. He's got absolutely nobody with him. It's Williams, in fact. He's got absolutely no support. He'll be turning around and saying, hey, what was that about? Smith. It's just slowed up a little bit here. Henderson. But they've got a couple of tackles in hand and they're in striking distance. Kearse. He's playing lock now, and that's why instead of passing it, he's carting it up. This is last. The forwards are the shield. The 5'8" is the target. It's Munro McGrady. And he couldn't have picked the opposition out any better there. They'll be disappointed because that was brewing. That's Heaton on in 14, taking a run. We've got a Heaton in the Newcastle side. We've got a Heaton in the Riverina side, and we've got a half break here. Beagley screaming at the touch judge that Lum had dropped it. Touch judge wanted none of it. Now Flint. Game's opening up a bit here. We're seeing a bit of running. Lum. Now Phil. Corcoran to the sky. That looks awkward. It's spinning and twisting. It's ugly and it's taken really well. And then he's taken really well. Goodness me. Did anyone get the number of that bus? Aidan Bills. Whack from Kalisa-Waka. He got Kalisa whacked. Doesn't that change the flow of things? Because Riverina, they've probably had their worst 10-15 minutes of the game, now have a chance to do something here. Here's Fisher. And Fisher's still going here. He nearly opened them up. They're very flat. Lum's going to go himself. I reckon Newcastle and Hunter wouldn't have minded that. He's just taken the sting out of things for a second and chewed up a tackle. Girdler. Corcoran. Now this is Girdler, in fact, with it now. Still going Girdler. That's a good ball out there to Flint. Flint's still going. He's got a couple to go past. He's not far away. But he's also not there. Now there's a penalty against the ball. Well, I'm not quite sure what that's for. I guess he was just malingering a little bit there. And so the referee got him. And Beagley will be relieved to send this into the crowd and absolutely clatter an empty seat on about the 30-metre line. As per usual, when the ball goes into the crowd, someone helpfully throws it back and lands it on the field. Now the 25. We got his number now, Joel Newman. No mystery men out there today. Oof. Hetherington. Matt Strongley. This big unit's Williams. He nearly went without it. He got it though. Reeled it back in. Still going. He's a big body. Now, Smith looking to kick, not making much of a contact. And now they're up and at them with Wiscombe. He looked to have dropped it. He did drop it. And after that shank, that absolutely awful kick by Smith, where I don't even think he made connection with the ball, it's turned out all right because Riverina have very charitably given Newcastle the ball back here with 4 minutes left in the first half to do something with it. This is the only competition where they play full 40-minute halves, so you get your full value for your entertainment here. If you're watching online, if you're watching on Facebook, let us know where you are. Let us know who you're barracking for. Keep us posted. We've even got someone watching the game at the ground. There you go. Watching the broadcast. They must just very much like the commentary. As here's Newcastle with a play of the ball that looked a bit rickety. And Smith gets at them. Now Newman. He's a big presence out there. He's probably the tallest bloke on the field, I reckon. Munro McGrady sort of passed that to the carpet there. Yates. The ref says get up. There's a bit of shove there. Now Munro McGrady looking for a path through. Finds Beagley. It's on the toe. It's picked up in the end by Riverina at the last. At the very last. That was a clever little set move and a good little snipe to have just on the stroke of half-time. We've got 2 minutes 30 on the rocket clock. Now Cowlard. And he's lost it as well. There's mistakes creeping in here for Riverina. They've started getting the dropsies, particularly in the play the ball. And that's just opening things up for Newcastle. I just wonder if they might have a little nibble here with 2 minutes to go, whether they might fancy themselves for a little late try. Hayden Yates is in some trouble over here. He's on one knee, not looking overly well. If you look like that in a nightclub, you'd have the RSA marshal after you. But he's going to play on, and that's a fairly reprehensible scrum, I must say. That's going to go down in the history as one of the worst. It was fed, the ball came straight back out. Now, Williams. Very easy to pick due to his sheer size, Joel Williams. 40 metres to go, 63 seconds to do it in. Here's Kearse. Will they try a little trick here if they get late in the count? I wonder. Here's Beagley. He looks for Boston Smith, and they won't get to make a little trick because it's come out from Hetherington, and the Bulls can see the ball, see it out to half-time here. As Hay comes forward, referee says 40 seconds. Newcastle will get another go after all. Here's Brown running from deep. He looks for numbers. And they're back where they started with 15 seconds depleted. There's half a minute to go. Campbell's going to try it on himself here. If he gets the bounce, he'll be in business. He didn't. It was the sort of low percentage thing you try on half-time. He's an enterprising type, Fred Campbell, from the Cardiff club. And with 15 seconds left, maybe this time the Bulls can see it out, get themselves to the break, and Jody Rudd can have a word to them. Probably about hanging onto the ball and doing what they did in the first 20 minutes of the game. This will probably be the last run. You can wait to hear the siren. There's no phantom this time. I think that's the proper siren. It's half-time. That one wasn't a false alarm. We've had a really good half here. It started off one-way traffic. Riverina were all over them and spending long periods of time in the Newcastle end of the ground. But it started to even up. Newcastle dug in. They only conceded the one try, and then they got a chance off a breakaway and scored one of their own through Fred Campbell. It's 6-all at half-time. It's a good contest, and we've got 40 minutes more of it to come on Bar TV. Stick with us. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to St Mary's for the final time today. It feels like we've been here for days. We've seen 4 games of football, well, 3.5 games of football so far at this very nice little ground, which I must say has held up very well. We've seen the Andrew Johns Cup and the Laurie Daly Cup this morning. We saw the Women's Country Championship this afternoon, and now we're seeing the Under-23's Country Championship, and I tell you what else we're seeing, a very good contest between those two sides. Riverina came out and looked like they were going to steamroll Newcastle early on here, but Newcastle have dug in and find themselves 6-all at half-time. And so we really are in a position of being no closer to working out who's going to win. As Jack Beagley's got it on the tee, and we're underway for the final 40 minutes of football here at St Mary's on Bar TV. Morgan Campbell bringing it to you, and it's a big carry off the back fence to start us off with James Hay. Riverina in the maroon and gold, Newcastle of course in the red and blue. And it's very good to have you along wherever you're watching. I just saw somebody on the Facebook page said they were catching us from Leeton, which is of course prime Riverina territory, and they've had representatives in these sides today. The number 3 in this side, Joshua Fisher, of course, from the Leeton club, and so too is Hayden Philp, both from Leeton Greens. So good to have you. As there's a charge down, and this should be 6 to go here. You would expect it is indeed, as Girdler gets the ball, and they're going to try and use it here. It's going to be Bennett over there. And, well, it all came apart. And that's kind of what it was like in the latter part of the first half. Riverina making some mistakes, giving Hunter some chances. And this is a good one to start the second half. Full 40-minute halves here, of course, in this under-23s competition, so it's going to be a full test. But mercifully, it's not too warm, so exhaustion shouldn't play too much of a role, although it is early in the season. Here's Brown, and he'll be bottled up 3/4 of the way up the field, or almost. Perhaps 2/3 of the way up the field. My math's failing me there. Now here's Williams. The big body in 12 finds Beagley. Beagley finds Henderson. Henderson finds some willing defenders. Williams has got a bit of problem. He's going out the back. Smith. Now it's another Smith. There was a Munro McGrady in between them. And Munro McGrady had a look the other way. But it goes away from him, and it's a high shot there on Newman. And they might take the 2 here, Newcastle, and give themselves the lead. Beagley's pointing at the sticks. He's the goal kicker. He's also the captain. And the touchies are coming in. So Newcastle are going to find themselves in front here. And really, they didn't have much choice but to take the 2 there and take the lead on offer. It's a low-scoring game. Both sides only able to find 1 try in the first half. And so why wouldn't you have a snap and go ahead? So it is Beagley who's got to do the job. Good thing about being the captain and the goal kicker, you know if you can kick them. You know if it's a good opportunity. Let's see what he's got. I won't make a forecast about whether he's going to kick it, because usually when I do that, if I say, oh, he should kick this, it'll come scything off the side of the boot and hit the corner flag. We won't do that. Here he comes. We did see it in the, if you watch the Daily Cup game earlier today between Riverina and Penrith, that goes over. There you go, 8-6. Newcastle with the lead. Yes, in that Daily Cup game, with scores level, in fact, Penrith had a shot from in front, probably on that, up the same end of the ground, and rattled it into the upright. And then got a penalty straight away and got a second chance to kick it. And ended up scoring again after that and winning 30-22 in a very good, high-quality game. And that's what we've got here as well, as Newcastle come back with it. They've started the half brightly. This is the big 25, Joel Newman, marching up the field. Beagley's got options. Williams has recovered from that injury. I mean, how would you injure him? Look at the size of him. I'll open it up. That's Newman again. I'm glad that NHRL official came up and gave us his details, because he's had a lot of touches. It is good to know his name. So that was a very thoughtful contribution. Now, here's Girdler, and he's rocked in a really good shot by Kearse. Now Kalasawaka. This is Fisher. One of those Leeton players I mentioned before, and they've almost tried to drag him back to Leeton. The 3 Newcastle defenders. Now the 10. That's Ingram. And he's turned it over, Luke Ingram. So there's been a noticeable shift here, because these front rowers were pretty well walking all over Newcastle in the first half of the game, or in the first 20 minutes in particular. They're not doing it anymore. Now the 20, Casey Wall, is going to make his way out there. He's got the number 5 interchange card in his hand. So they're rotating their bench, the Riverina side. Way they come here, Newcastle, with Yates. This is a big chance, and they've immediately spurned it. They've turned it over. So one off the ruck, and they've got the dropsies. And it's been a bit like that. There's been moments like that. We've seen quite a few scrums. But otherwise, the standard's been pretty good. Some really good attacking play in particular. Now the big spidery winger, Riley Flint, in the middle of the park, getting really worked over in the tackle, taking a long time to get up. Now Hay. That's James Hay. He's in 15. Nicholas Hay's in 13. This is 17, Hayden Cowlard. And he's turned it over as well, and Newcastle love that. They love that. There's a few pats on the head and a bit of whooping. Why wouldn't there be? They've got the momentum on their side here after 7 minutes of the second half. Boston Smith can feed this scrum and start something for Newcastle here. If they could get out to a lead and make Riverina chase, they would feel pretty good about themselves going into the last half hour of the game. Because Riverina haven't been as enterprising with the ball as Newcastle have. Now, Smith, Williams, who's been dangerous every time he's run the ball. There was a bit of afters over the top there. Smith loomed up on the right. Beagley spurned him, went himself. They've still got a couple of tackles in hand here. Smith. Munro McGrady. Whoa, straight off the chest of Brown. Straight off the chest. He was probably thinking about what he was going to do with it before he had it. And so Riverina are going to get it back. And it's just got a little bit scrappy. And that might have something to do with the rain that's just started. It's sprinkling. That's what I would describe as a hard sprinkle. Does that make sense? I suppose it does. You can make your own minds up about that. Maybe that's a point for the Facebook page. If you're watching, let us know. Is there such a thing as a hard sprinkle? Yes or no? As Riverina come away with the ball. Always keen to hear where you're watching as well. Oh, yes, we've got someone's let us know they're watching from Glen Innes. That's good to know. We're covering all the state here on Bar TV. We're seeing all parts of the all the parishes of New South Wales. Now here's Lum. He gets up to the 40. Corcoran deputises at dummy half. We haven't seen too much of Riverina with the ball since they came out from Oranges. So Lum finds Corcoran, and this is into orbit. Look at the pressure, look at the pressure. It's spinning, there a chance here, you know. And in the end, Aidan Bills had to run that into touch because that was very awkward. What a fantastic bomb. And Zach Brown, either because he got a knock or from the grief of having to try and catch that thing, still hasn't got up. And there's a fleet of trainers. Making their way out. How many people in fluoro out there right now? 1, 2, 3. I'm trying not to count the referee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? Yeah, 5 trainers. So there's plenty of support staff helping out. No, 6 trainers. There's an extra one out there. I don't know where he came from. There's plenty of support staff out there. This is a real chance for Riverina as we're just about to tick onto the half-hour mark. A wonderful opportunity for them. You don't get many better chances than this. 10 out. Scrum feed. Set out on the right. 2 to the left of the ruck. 4 to the right of the ruck. They go to the ladder. And this is Fisher. Decides to try it himself. Got a really good ball to Wall. And Wall is still going. And Wall's finally knocked down. Now there's a stoppage because there's a player with some trouble in the middle of the park. Joe Lum's quite upset about that. He thought he was on. But it's fair enough to stop the play there. He's right in the attacking line. You can't really have players on the deck in those sort of positions. I think it's Hayden Yates, who's already been in the wars today. And he's going to take his sweet time about getting up here. He must have taken a knock of some description. And that rain, I reckon that hard sprinkle's getting a bit harder. And might just be adding a layer of grease to this grass out there, which has had some punishment today. Now, on we go again. Big chance this for Riverina. It's Ingram, he's already got a try today. He has another go. And that ball's come out there. They're going to say a penalty. They're going to say it was stripped. And I wonder what Riverina will do here. Do they fancy their attack? Or do they want to just stick the 2 over and level the scores? They fancy their attack. They go straight to Ingram. They're taking a gamble here. Let's see if it works. Lum. Goes out to Corcoran. Corcoran just weaving a bit of a path to the line there. Not getting too far. They're very flat here, Riverina. They go back inside. This will be Ingram again, I reckon. He's got a bit of the white line fever at the moment. You know what front rowers are like when they score a try. And the ball's come out there. That's a knock on. So they've not taken that opportunity, that very good opportunity. I want to apologise to Ingram, by the way. That was James Hay who took that second run. I don't want to impugn his reputation. But Newcastle and Hunter can come away, having survived, and maybe Riverina now wish they'd taken the kick at goal, I dare say. Well, they're going to give this feed to Riverina. I don't quite know how that came about, but it's Wall who gets the ball. They must have said it was perhaps stripped out by Newcastle and knocked on that way. Here's a chance for Hay. Newcastle need to defend strongly here. They've held him up. They've done well. The goal line defence has been pretty good from Newcastle. And Hay will have to trot back. Here's Lum. Here's Corcoran. It's out the back to Wall, who just got his angles wrong a little bit there. It's Flint who can come inside. They'll work to the centre. This is Philp. Still Philp. He's taking some stopping. It's an evasive, rangy kind of run across field. Not any great effect in the end. But they've still got plenty of tackles in hand. Corcoran again. Hetherington. Oh, sorry, Cowlett it is. Got my team's wrong there. Now Wall. He's met by one. And there's another penalty to Riverina here. Let's see what they do this time. Maybe this time they'll take the two. Newcastle have been defending well. There's a fair few doses of 2 fingers going up, and yeah, they will take the goal. They will take the goal this time. And that's a tribute to the Newcastle defence. Because 2 minutes ago, Riverina thought they could roll them, and now they think differently. And so they'll take the two here. They'll presumably go level. And these two sides will have about 25 minutes to sort this out. It's a real wrestle here. It's a scrap. With 26 minutes to go, we've only had one try per side. And Jesse Corcoran, with a bit of high step prancing, puts it over. 8 points all, 26 to go. Well, we're still no closer really to knowing who's going to win this thing. Both sides have had their runs of momentum. Nobody's been able to apply the killer finish. Now, had a couple of changes there. A couple of players come off. 15, James Hay has come off. And I think 14, Liam Heaton's come off as well. So Riverina will get their starting front row back out there. Zach Masters, I think, has come back on. And he was so good for them in the first half. And that's him with the ball now. So that's a good one. That's a good change for Riverina. Maybe lift the tempo a little bit here, and that's exactly what they're doing with the Wiscombe. Strolling up the field, Wiscombe, finding Kalasei Waka. He's going into touch, and if he didn't go into touch, he found Bills anyway. And Newcastle can counter-attack. But we're seeing a bit more enterprise now from the Bulls. Using the width of the field. They had to wait until it rained before they wanted to really start an expansive attack. Newcastle have got some wounded here. Brown is down, so too is Smith. And that's enough for the referee to stop play. Newcastle effectively playing with 11 in attack there. The referee will come over and have a word. Boston Smith, a bit early in the day for cramp. 25 minutes to go, but he looks a bit sore. Just trying to stretch it out. Zach Brown's taking his place back in the line. And after being rudely interrupted, Joel Newman can play the ball. Heaton's about to come back on in 13. That's interchange 6 for Newcastle, so they are getting through them. And they start up again with Jason Smith. Now Boston Smith. Now Heaton. And on last tackle, they are right on halfway as Smith kicks. And it's Fisher there who's gone back to full back to retrieve this. Maybe fancies himself in broken play. And Riverina start their set in decent position. It's 8-all here with 24 minutes to go. Morgan Campbell bringing you this game for Bar TV on the CRL website. It's very good to have you with us. We've got one more round after this in both the country championship under 23s and the women's. Oh dear, oh dear. Now there'll be trouble. There'll be trouble. Referee tells off Zach Masters there. Williams trying to apologise, not getting a lot of not getting a lot of traction with that apology. Zach Masters looking a bit wound up after that. It was a bit wild. He did give them some grief in the first half, and maybe Joe Williams decided to take it upon himself to send a bit of a message now that Masters is back on the field, but that wasn't quite the right message to send as Fisher comes forward. And still going Fisher. Oh, still going Fisher. Well, there was absolutely nothing doing. And he's just spun past a couple and got to ground. Well, there you go. Whoever that was on Facebook said they were watching in Leeton. They'll be very pleased with themselves. Very pleased for Joshua Fisher, who's got across with 22 and a half to go. And that's a biggie for Riverina. How they needed that. Now, Crystal Wallace on Facebook as well saying, go the Leeton boys. Well, it's one of the Leeton boys who's really turned the momentum of the game out of nothing. Joshua Fisher. And with about a quarter to go, Riverina are back in front. And they haven't been in front for about half an hour. And Corcoran has a chance to put them a converted try clear. Joe Williams is coming from the field, having just nearly taken Masters' head off. But he's done a good stint, 60 minutes all the way on the edge. And had a good impact. Now, Corcoran, about a dozen metres in from touch. That looks all right, you know. That's a beauty. All the way. We're going to get a good finish here with a quarter of the game to go. We are going to get a good finish. So Beagley gets us underway again. We finally had the third try of the game, and it was Riverina's. Now there's a knock on and a penalty. Oh, that's so important. That would have been a big moment for Newcastle and Hunter if they'd been able to get the ball there. Instead, Riverina can advance again and try and get back a bit of that momentum they had right at the start of the game. 2 footballs on the field. And here's Fisher. This time he might be a bit too far out to score. Here's Nicholas Hay. That's come out. There's no strip there. That's play on for Heaton. So Newcastle dodge one there. And they can go again with Campbell. Now the short side's on with Yates. This will be Munro McGrady again. They're just doing it, working a very narrow corridor of the field here. Now that's the 10, Dan Melmoth back on. Now Munro McGrady tries something on. He might get this back, you know. And if he doesn't, Campbell will. He gets it back inside to Munro McGrady. There's a try. And that's an answer from Newcastle and Hunter. That is an answer. Having gone behind, they've produced a great bit of play. Out of nothing, really. Munro McGrady just dribbling it in behind. A little bit of a set play. Campbell had the pace. In the end, they were queuing up. There were 3 of them to gobble that up. And if this kick goes over, we'll be all square again. With 19 minutes to go. Good quality football on Bar TV today. We've seen some good ones. If you get the points today, you're alive in this competition and you can try and get a big win next week and get yourself into the finals. The top 2 from each pool go through. Semi-finals in 3 weeks' time and a final on April the 6th. Of course, next week, Newcastle and Hunter have got North Coast up at Maitland Sports Ground. The 23's happening at 2 o'clock up there next Saturday. And Riverina have got to travel again. They've got to go to Fig Tree. And that's on Saturday as well against the Illawarra South Coast Dragons. And that's a 2 o'clock kickoff at Fig Tree at Collegians. Now then, it's waved away from Beagley. And he seems a bit vexed about that. So Newcastle and Hunter find themselves still 2 points behind. 14 points to 12 here, 17 and a half to go. And, well, we're not really much closer to working out whose game this is. We're going to get the grandstand finish. And this is Melmoth to get us underway again. And it could just be a mistake here or a penalty there. It gives one of these sides the opportunity to get that last try. That's Heaton. Got it away well to Beagley. Melmoth will go again and then he went straight to ground. Lost his footing. It might just be a bit slippery out there with that drizzle. I think we're taking it back from a hard sprinkle back to a very gentle drizzle at best now. In fact, I can't really see any rain at all now. So it was only graced us with its presence very briefly. Now Fisher's got this. That's Curtis Fisher. Another of the Leighton boys out there. We've got a big Leighton audience today. So we're going to keep giving them a bit of a plug. Here's Flint. There's players from all over the Riverina in this side. Griffith, Junee, South City, Wagga Brothers, Young, Tumut, Albury, Yanko. Very well represented. And now there's a forward pass. It was called by the touchy. And this is a chance for Newcastle with a quarter of an hour left. They're going to start almost right on halfway. We're in a great spot up here in the grandstand at St Mary's. We're right on the halfway line. Towards the back of the grandstand. And it's a really good little ground, I must say. You can see everything. And there's plenty to see with 15 to go. Now Beagley's got this dummy at the back of the scrum, and they can start again with Henderson, who hasn't seen much of the ball in this game. Tyrone Henderson. Him and Bills have been a little bit isolated. It's been a lot of work down the left-hand side when Newcastle have been on the attack. That was Thompson in the 19. And that'll be Melmoth in the 10. I go back to the open. Oos, Heaton. Hit up high. There was a bit in that there from Masters. Now they'll go back the other way with Campbell, who's... in fact, it's the other fella out there. Oh, that's come out. It's a chance here for Yates. It was Munro McGrady who put the kick in. Yates gets it away to Campbell. They're going to score in the corner. Well, there was nothing about that said try, I've got to tell you. Munro McGrady chipped it in behind. It ping-ponged around, and finally Fred Campbell scored in the corner. Well, that'll do, mate. They've got their lead back, Newcastle and Hunter, with 14 minutes left. They're back in front. And it's all been off a little bit of brilliance on that left-hand side by the by that firm out there of Munro McGrady and Fred Campbell, the flair players in this team. And now Beagley, I'd say he'll take his time over this now that they're in front. He's got a chance to try and kick this lead out. If they could get themselves out to 4, they probably wouldn't mind themselves. With about a dozen minutes left. Let's see what he can do. There's no crowd to bother him over there. He's got all the time in the world to line this up and send it over. Well. There you go. 18-14. Newcastle and Hunter. Back in front. This game sprung to life. It was 8-all 10 minutes ago. Oh, trouble. Oh. You could see the two trains colliding. You could see it happening before it happened. And as soon as they let one in, the Bulls, they're going to get a chance to get one back. To get their lead back. Newcastle have to kick it out of one of their own posts. This is a real test of their defence now. It's a test of nerve as well. So Wall feeds Ingram, who turns it over. And the mistake won't cost them. And look how happy they are. It won't cost them anything. And the two players who collected one another will be fairly grateful. Only 11 minutes left now. And we see another beautiful scrum. It's been a feast for scrum enthusiasts this afternoon here at St Mary's, as that's Tyrone Henderson, who's had 2 touches in about 3 minutes after I said he hasn't had too much to do. It's always the way. That was the 19, that was Thompson. They're working back towards the middle now. That's stripped. I reckon that'll be a penalty. Yep. With a big puff on the whistle. And Newcastle can advance here. What a chance this is now with 10 to go. 4 points in front and with field position. Clear that second ball off the field and let's get into them, they'll be saying. Here it is. With Melmoth. Taking ground off the Melmoth. Oof! Kearse. Belted. Well, they're building to the right. The short balls to Melmoth again. There's a real collision out there with Smith. He was hit as he passed it at best. He aims up again though, Smith. It's in behind, it's caught. It's caught by Fisher. Riverina survive. And they're 90 metres from where they want to be. But they're getting closer all the time. Here's the other Fisher. Up they come. The 11 is Hayden Philp. Maybe a little bit of momentum there for them. This is Lum. He almost dropped it. Got it inside to Philp. It was a good ball. They're making ground off offloads here, the Bulls. What do they got? They've got a pass to nobody in particular. He needs to find some ground. He's found more than some ground. Cullison Walker. He's done really well. They've got tackles in hand. Well, one tackle in hand. Corcoran. Fisher. Wall. The numbers are there for them. Wall back inside. Wall goes all the way. They couldn't tear down Wall. They couldn't knock him over. And with 8 minutes to go, they're square again.
Number 20, Casey Wall. The ball's now on to 18.
And they had all the numbers there. They had to score. And if he hadn't scored, there'd have been an inquiry, having taken it on himself. Haven't we seen some twists and turns the last 15 minutes? Riverina got their lead back, gave it up, and they've gone and grabbed it again. Oh, well, they might have gone and grabbed it again. It all depends on this kick. Corcoran is about halfway between the touchline and the posts. And there is a little bit of pressure on it. 7.5 minutes left. Big kick. What's he got under pressure? Jesse Corcoran. Be getting some encouragement from the Newcastle players, no doubt. There's the kick. It's over. It's over. Riverina have the lead back. 20 points to 18. The ground announcer very helpfully informs us we've got 6.5 minutes left to go here, with Riverina back on top. 20 points to 18. Remember, it was 8-all not that long ago. We've seen, 4 tries in very quick time. Maybe everybody's got a little bit tired, but the game has really opened up. Off we go again. Beagley sending it high. And that is the try scorer, Wall, I think, who's got that. And Riverina can just play calmly now. Get through a few sets, pen Newcastle back. And make them make the running. Here's Flint making good ground. Making the running. Now Phil. This is Hay. Still Hay. This has been a decent set after the try. Wall will kick it. He copped one down low. But he's just launched that downfield. And Newcastle know to pick it up on their try line. They've got 100 metres to go. As the time ticks down to 5 minutes, they won't be going 100 metres. They've turned it over to Flint. Here's Hay. They could put them out of their misery here, Riverina. They could finish it off. Hay again. What a chance this is. Lum. Corcoran. Still Corcoran. And on. He might think about reaching out, Corcoran. He has reached out and put it down. Well, that tackle should have been over. But he just kept thinking he could get there. 24-18, kick to come.
Number 7, Jesse Corcoran. Take the balls now on to 24. We take a version and attempts still to come.
And that might see them home. A couple of minutes ago, they were right under pressure. But they got themselves up there and scored. Then they forced a knock on off a good set. And assuming this kick goes over, they're going to be 8 clear with 4 to play. This has been a twisting, turning kind of game. And I hope you're enjoying it wherever you've been watching. Here's Corcoran to kick it out to 8. It's there, and maybe so a Riverina. Jesse Corcoran from Young scores the try, kicks the goal. His kicking's been very good today. He hasn't missed one. 5 from 5. And there are only 3 minutes left on that very big elaborate scoreboard over there. So if it's going to happen for Newcastle, it's got to happen now. In fact, they probably need to force a mistake. This is Hay. And the plan for the Bulls is very simple now. Take it up, hang on to it. That's it. There goes Fisher. And he fulfills the brief there. Lum looks for a willing runner, finds Hay. Goodness me, Smith came out like a cannonball. But thankfully for Nick Hay, he missed. Now they come on with the other Hay. That's James. They got the pass from Masters. They're working this well, Riverina. They're just draining time off the clock. Lum keeping it tight. Masters. He's had a good game today. His first stint really set them going. And they'll go to the right. The kick is launched high. The bounce will be awkward. If it bounces in the field of play, it doesn't. In fact, he put so much on it, it went dead. But that's not too bad, because there are 100 seconds left here. And you'd have to think that's not long enough. You'd have to think Newcastle and Hunter have got too much to do. If we ever had a game decided by an 8-point try, I suppose maybe. That'd be... Someone's going to have to drop the knees in over the try line or something, I think, to cost Riverina now. Here's Snowden back on in the headgear. 1:15 left now. Heaton. Still tackles in hand. Here's Beagley. Going to work it over there to Smith. They sort of have to try something now, I guess. Thompson. It's down there. It's Bills. Bills throws it to Kearse. Still Kearse. He narrowly avoided having his head taken off. Still running. Now Smith. Now Snowden again. 40 seconds left. The ball's come out. It's a strip. I wonder... So Beagley will tap. There's only 20 seconds left here. So time's ticking away. Riverina are going to get a very, very good win that they've had to really fight for, as Thompson takes it up off the back fence, barges past someone. Thompson sets sail for the line. He won't get there. This will be the last play. And unless someone does something incredibly stupid, Riverina are going to win. Smith. Inside ball to Snowden. Snowden's going to get dragged down. Back to Beagley. That's it. He's wrapped up, and so is the game. Riverina. Riverina have had a good day. They got the win in the Women's Championship. They've got the win in the Country Championship under 23's. It's a 26-18 win over Newcastle and Hunter, and you would have to say they deserve it, because in the last 10 minutes, when the game was getting worked out and things were all square, they were the ones who came up with the points and the quality to get themselves over the line. It's a 26-18 win. The Bulls over the Newcastle and Hunter side. Thank you very much for joining us on Bar TV today. I hope you've enjoyed these hours and hours of rugby league, when too much rugby league is barely enough. And it's Morgan Campbell signing off from St Mary's Stadium. We'll be back next week with plenty more from the Country Rugby League.